Thank you for joining me. I've been experimenting with Napoleons, and so this is going to be a tutorial on the Napoleon. This is the one more like I bought this morning, but I thought that a chocolate one would be cute, and those are just two other versions. I'll explain the difference and how to make these at the end. Okay. So for the pastry layer, I have a mixture of about half and half of white and ecru from Primo. So I mixed these completely together, and then I marbled them with a lot of translucent. And then once they were marbled, I rolled them out. I'll show you. I did that because it will have very slight stripes. I feel that this will help with the pastry layer, so it's not a solid color. There's little bits of translucent, little bits of the tan, so that way it's just a little bit more depth when we texture the pastry layer. And then the yellow is actually similar. There's a little bit more yellow, and I mix all of those together, and after they're all mixed together, I add them to a lot of translucent. So the difference between the mixture is just adding the yellow. So those are the two colors that we're using. I rolled them flat, and they're just an even thickness. The pastry layers and the cream layers are the same thickness. And what's good is if you are wanting to go into business and do a lot of these, I don't know if I'm going to be making these or not yet for the store, but the good thing about these is you could stack layers that are thick, and you could cut out all the squares so you have enough for a lot. So this is one you can easily mass make. But here I'm going to take a strip, and I am going to place it on my other clay here. So it's the pastry layer on top of the custard layer. And then I'll just create a bit of a rectangle, a little bit larger than what I want it to be, and I will place it on top of itself. So far we have a yellow pastry, and then there's yellow and pastry again. So it's 4 layers right now. We're just going to add one more of the pastry layer, because there's 2 layers of cream between the pastry. As you can tell, I'm not being completely careful about this. I'm going to try to, carefully as possible, make it a rectangle, and this is where you want to make it the size that you want your Napoleon. I suggest you placing your body over where you're cutting, so that way you can get a nice even rectangle. Make sure you slice straight down and not have the bottom larger than the top, or vice versa. Okay, so from here we have a rectangle, and there's all the layers. And then I just soften the edges so they're not hard. From here I would let it set for a while like I do the cakes before texturing. So we'll say that I let that sit. From here, it's not exactly a cake texture that you want, so I drag a pin, or you could use a needle tool, but I'm dragging it along the sides. So you could see all the stripes getting in there. And they don't run all the way through, but I do that just on the pastry layer. I do it on all 3 pastry layers, and I do it on all sides of the rectangle. I'm doing this in my hand so you can see it. I lift the needle up and pull, and I'm doing it in one direction. I don't know if you can tell that I'm not, when I'm bringing it back to pull again, I'm not going the opposite way in the clay. I'm lifting it above the clay. So there is how I texture it. And then if it looks too much like cake, you can push down in a few areas. So that's how we do that. And I would do it on all 4 sides, all 3 layers of the pastry. I just don't want this to be a huge, long tutorial when it's not very difficult to make. So we're going to get started with our top. Let me move this over here. So you see 2 piles of TLS. It does not work with Fimo. Here. I tried it with the liquid Fimo Deco Gel, and this is what happened, where this is what it looks like with the TLS. You get the stripes you want. So just letting you know in advance. So I'm using white powdered food coloring, and I'm using cocoa powdered food coloring. And basically, they don't have to have those particular names. That just happens to be the names of this company's. White will be the same, but they might not call something cocoa. From another company, it might be chocolate. You just want a really nice dark brown. So I put white food coloring in one of my piles of TLS and thoroughly mix it. And I'm going to do cocoa in my other one. It's a really nice dark chocolate brown, but it has some gray in it too, so you can always lighten it up with a lighter brown color. I like this for what we're doing though, so I'm just going to leave it. And I'm going to show you how to do this. So where is the one we are working on? It's right in front of me. So what I'm going to do, let's hope I mixed this well enough, but I'm going to take my toothpick and place it on the top and even out the surface so it's nice and flat. Okay, so that's going to even out here for a second. So I covered it in the white TLS. And then I'm going to take a safety pin for my stripes. I dip it in. I lean it forward so it could kind of ball up at the tip of the pin. And I bring it across. I repeat that process 2 more times. I have one in the middle. It helps if you're sitting directly across. And then one more. The more of the powder you have in there too, the thinner you can get the lines, just so you know. And then you have to find whether you're more comfortable dragging it towards yourself or away. I like dragging it away from myself So I bring it down like this, and then I turn it around. So I turned it around in my hand, and then I'm going to drag it away here, and I'm going to drag it away on the other side. So the thinner lines will give you thinner stripes like at the bottom. The lines on the top were thicker. And you can control that by the amount of food coloring that's in there. If there's a little bit more food coloring, it's thicker, and you can actually get thinner lines. But after that, you would be cooking it in the oven. So I hope that you enjoyed that. Also, if you did dots, you can swirl them, and that's kind of fun. But just wanted to show you that. So then you would bake it, and it would be all done. Now, if you wanted one like this, what the difference is I actually, well, the color was just burnt umber and translucent instead, but I did it the same way. And after rolling it out, I cut out the pieces, I texture it on the side and bake it. And then after baking it, I make frosting with TLS and solid clay. I put a little bit of frosting on the bottom layer, and then I put another layer in and sandwich it. If you want strawberries like this, or you could do raspberries, you would want to make those separately and place them on top of the frosting layer before you put on the second layer of pastry. Then once you have the second layer of pastry on, you can do another frosting layer. I would suggest cooking it then. Then you can do another frosting layer and sandwich the top on, and then you can do the very top. And this is the same, but it is putting the chocolate on the bottom and putting the white stripes across instead. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I think it would be really fun to do it with raspberries. You could always, like on this with the strawberries, you could always actually put a little whipped cream on the top and have some strawberry on top too, which would be pretty. And I think it would be good with a red raspberry color that has a little bit more fuchsia to it. So I just thought that it was kind of fun, and this is definitely a bakery item. So have fun. I'd love to see them if you guys do them. I am on Instagram, so I'll try to go ahead and provide a link to my page. I'm not on it too often, but I do look from time to time. So take care, everyone. If you had more ideas for the bakery sweets, you could leave them here. I'm going to be looking in the comment section, and I'm also going to be looking in the comment section of the other result page, because there's a lot of suggestions you guys have made, and I'll be making some of the bakery items from there as well. Take care. See you next time.